I'm Alexis Van Herkman, and welcome to Resolve in a Rush, where you'll learn DaVinci Resolve grading and finishing techniques in under 5 minutes. So let's say I'm doing a review session with a client, and in this case, the client says, hey, in this shot, I'd really love if he looked a little sicker, just around his eyes. And I go, okay, I don't want to lose that valuable bit of information, so I'm going to choose the Annotations tool. And I can choose the Annotations tool from the same Timeline Viewer mode pop-up that is available for turning on the on-screen controls for doing transforms or for cropping or any of the other things that I can do directly in the Timeline Viewer. If I turn on Annotations, I get this new toolbar, the Annotations Toolbar, which lets me choose between placing a line or drawing freehand based on which one of these buttons I click. I'm going to choose a red color because this is really important, and I'm going to just draw a circle around his face, and the client says, no, just around the eyes. So I can undo that and just go, okay, like in this area, and the client goes, yes, I am happy with that note. And when I do this, you can see that a marker is automatically placed in the timeline. I don't have to do anything else. And if I want to add some text, I don't have a text tool as part of this just yet. But if I press M, I can go ahead and start editing the notes, make face sicker, done. And then maybe as I'm playing along, the client goes, oh, hey, actually, you know what? I'd love it if she can be even more out of focus. And I go, okay, I'm not going to argue. I'm just going to make a note, and we'll talk about it later. And because I consider this marker to be slightly lower priority, I'm going to change the color to blue. Whatever line I last drew is automatically selected. So if I draw another circle and change the color, now I'm changing the color of that circle. Now I can select shapes somewhat invisibly. There's no selection state, but now if I change the color, I'm changing the color of the shape I just clicked on. Same thing here. Well, there's a very subtle selection state. I shouldn't say there is no selection state. Or I can select that, press the backspace key, and delete it. So in this case, if I add another marker, I'm going to say make her more defocused. And in this way, I can just rip through my timeline and place these visible annotations where I need to. Now, these annotations aren't just limited to the timeline. If I turn on dual viewer mode so I can see the source viewer, I can actually place annotations in here. There's an annotation tool in the source viewer mode pop-up. So if the client says, I'd like a little more light on her face in that setup, I can just throw that annotation there. The marker is available. Now, once I've started dropping some markers in, as always, Shift up and down lets me jump from marker to marker in the timeline. So if I'm wanting to review my notes, I can do so. Now, as of the time of this recording, if I jump into the color page, even though the color page lets me see the text of this marker, I don't get to see the annotation. That's not yet been exposed in the color page, just FYI. So if I jump back to the edit page, the other thing I'll show you is if I turn off Show Marker Overlays, those annotation drawings get hidden along with the marker overlays. So you can show and hide those just like everything else. And of course, if you want to get out of annotations mode, all you have to do is click that tool to turn it off, and then nothing you do is going to affect those annotations.